on, guys? Matt Weik here with Jimmy Mentis, another episode of Fit Business. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. I know Jimmy and I are both excited every week to turn the mics on, turn the cameras on, and get things rolling. So what's new, Jimmy? Anything new?
You know, every day something's new. The thing is, do you actually want to hear it? Do people want to hear it? I mean, there's crazy things going on. There's great things going on. I just see there's a lot of movement in the supplement industry.
I think that's interesting because we see it on a daily basis. People who aren't, deep into the industry, they don't get to see kind of the day-to-day changes and the different new opportunities, doors that are closing. How do you have to pivot? New things that you have to come out with, how to reinvent your brain and stuff like that. So I think it's super exciting and interesting at the same time of the evolution of each business, because every day it's something new. And I think that's why we really wanted to talk about this topic. And I know myself personally, I respect the hell out of you, and I have for many years. And so I think it's important for people to understand, who Jimmy Mentis is, and but not on that deep of a level, because we don't want to go that deep. But we want to touch on the business side of things, like what goes on in your head to make you wake up every morning and do what you do, like based off of the things that you've done in the past and to where you got to in the future. Because for me personally, I feel like so many people are focusing on the negativity and the negative side of business these days. And it's just because they're looking for things, and you don't see the news covering, companies or people that are doing these great things. It's always negative. And I like to tell people this, the example of, let's say you're at a baseball game. You see the beer guy walking up and down the aisle how many times? And if you go multiple times during the season, you'll see 100+ times of that dude walking up and down those steps. You see him exchanging money, same way business does with customers. But then that one day, the dude bumps into somebody and he drops all of his beer. I guarantee that's the only time that you're going to remember what happened with that guy. And it's the same thing with if you're opening doors for people. It only takes that one person to not hold the door for you. And then you're like, man, that guy was an asshole. I can't believe that he just closed the door on me. All the other people who opened it, who you thanked, you never think twice about.
That example, I don't want to interrupt you, but that example with the beer guy is a really good example. Because I don't drink beer, right? I don't drink, period. And that actually happened. And the guy dropped the beer, the whole thing, and that's when I realized he was in front of me.
Yeah, that's just it. I mean, we see stuff go on in our daily lives, and we never pick up on it. Right. And and I don't want to harp on the negativity side of it, but it's that one thing that triggers us, that happens, that's not good, that sets it apart from all the other experiences that we've gone through. So, I want the listeners to kind of think about that and sit back and go, you know what? I really don't remember, like you just said, I don't remember that guy really going up and down. Yeah, I know I heard him, hey, cold beer, blah, blah, blah. But then when that dude dropped it, I was like, oh my gosh. And then 2 seasons later, you still remember, hey, that's the guy who dropped that beer when we were here last.
Right.
So, I think it's the same with business. People are always looking for, Sears is going out of business. Toys R Us is going out of business. It's always the negative.
Always the negative.
It's not the buildup of how big Toys R Us got or how big Sears got before they, basically went away.
Right.
So I think it's important to look at all the good that people are doing in the industry. And, with the fit business community, we have so many people who are business owners. We have, supplement retailers. We have people who own their own supplement brands. We have people who aren't even in our industry who, they're fascinated by the things that go on. It's kind of like the circus freak with the bodybuilders and stuff like that. You have people of all walks of life. They might not understand, why is that dude walking up in underwear posing with oil? Like, I don't get it, but it's interesting. I want to watch it. It's the same with business. So obviously your background, you were a fantastic soccer player, a mediocre bodybuilder. But no, in all seriousness, no, though. I mean, you were an IFBB pro bodybuilder. You looked amazing. Again, I don't have anything behind me.
We're going to work on that.
you on it. So I don't know. I'll have to try and figure something out about that. But eventually all good things come to an end. So you decided one day, hey, I'm going to hang up the trunks. I'm not going to get on stage anymore. I'm going to retire from the sport. I'm not going to get out of the sport or the industry, but I'm going to shift what I do. So can you tell us what actually got you in the mindset of, it's my time, I need a change?
Well, it's funny because in my head, I still haven't retired. Okay. I still have one more in me. Okay. So, and every time I get a good pump, I'm like, that's it. I'm going, right? And then 3 days later, when I'm all sore and hurt, I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Right. So, but I retired for the most craziest reason that anybody could think of. My friend, got tired of eating. I was up to a point, my off season was 295. I was up to 325. I used to guest pose at 295, 300 and had abs, man. I was that guy. I mean, if you allow me to just talk to you, open, I was that guy who did everything right to be the best. Okay. I didn't win the Olympias or do the Olympia, but I made a full-blown career out of it. And I ate, drank, slept bodybuilding. It was my passion. It still is my passion. But when I found that formula of gains for me, and I realized that my setback was not enough food, I just started growing. I had that fast metabolism that I realized that I wasn't eating enough. And then when I tapped into that, I was eating close to 6,000 to 7,000 calories a day. I went into the Arnold Classic in 2001, okay, at 275, eating almost 10,000 calories, which was my last show. I was done. And you know how everybody competes? We're all competing, Ray. We're all eating, sitting around the hotels like, oh man, I can't wait till it's over so I can eat. I was just the opposite. It's like, where are we going to go eat after? I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I just want maybe a Diet Coke or a 7-Up, and I just don't want to eat. And that was my setback to why I didn't get the results. You know how you get that rebound effect after a show? I didn't get that because I would go days and weeks with one meal a day if I would do that. Like I would do a show and not eat for 2-3 weeks, maybe one meal a day, maybe, because I just got sick of eating. You ever see that little kid that's just eating and his mother's like, eat, and he's just storing all the food here? That was me, that was me. But I knew that's what I had to do. And I set out to do what I love to do. And I did what I needed to do. So when I decided to retire, and I use that word loosely, right? Because I really didn't retire. I walked away for some time. Okay. And, time flew. And then I got into the supplements. And the reason why I got into supplements is I understood how the body worked. I understood how muscles grow. I understood how the pancreas works with insulin levels. I knew digestion. I just knew the way the body functioned. And back then, supplementation wasn't big. I mean, there was creatine. I think Bill Phillips, was big back then with EAS, and he had the phosphagen.
Right.
And we took the phosphagen, and within a week we were up 15 pounds. We were all full of water. But
right.
Again, I got into the whole supplement thing. So, and it was part of I was still around it. I was still around, the bodybuilding gym scene, right? And I didn't know a lot. It was all trial and error. I mean, it still is trial and error. If I ever sat down and told everybody or anybody that I know everything, it's a lie. But what I did do is whatever I set out to learn, I learned it the best way I could and with detail.
So, what was your actual why for creating your supplement brands? Was it because you had this information and you knew that you could help people by bringing supplements to the market that would solve some of their issues, whether it's digestion issues or not being able to, put on enough lean muscle mass or whatever the case may be? Obviously, with BeautyFit, you have the beauty bum where women are trying to smooth their skin and reduce fat, at their glutes, their thighs, their hips, stuff like that. Like, what was your why?
Yeah, but that product also came from my past. So my why was out of 20, I don't even know how many years I competed, 28 years, I never had an endorsement deal. Never. Even though I was on covers of magazines, even though I was in multiple hundreds of covers and inside of magazines, I toured. I toured a lot. I guest appearances. Everybody would ask me, what am I taking? What am I taking? What supplements do I take? And I would tell them. I remember back then, John Perillo was a mentor of mine, okay, with the Cap Tri. And, that was one. He was the first booth I worked at 2 weeks off the plane from Greece at the Arnold Classic, right? Amazing guy, great supplements. But then you had the Twin Labs, right? You had the Rip Fuel. You had the, was that the protein? Anyway, the Gainers Fuel and all that stuff. So when I retired, I was still on the road. I still had appearances. I spoke about my personal experience, and people were like, "Well, what did you take? What are you taking?" Even during my career, and I said to myself, "Let me focus on the bodybuilding side and the nutrition, and then, now that I'm coming to the end of not eating the 10,000 calories a day, maybe I can create a product or a brand." All right. But I was one of the first, believe it or not, this is how my first supplement product started. In 1997, Candy Moro in Spain created Fitform. It was like a FIBO, but it was in Spain. Okay. Invited me to go and hang out at his booth. He had a magazine back then. And I didn't want to go empty-handed. And I had a formula that I used for my fat burner. Okay. But back then there wasn't Whole Foods. It was a store called Wild Oats. And I went in there and they had ingredients. I'm going to try to keep the story short, but it's interesting because this is how entrepreneurship starts, right?
Right.
So there were in Wild Oats here in Florida, they had a spot that you can get ingredients in bulk with a scoop.
Yeah. Right?
So I went in there and I found my guaranas, I found my yohimbis, I found all that stuff, and I put it in the little bags, and I would get the little bag of clear capsules, and I'd go home, like a drug dealer, right? And I would fill them up, and sometimes I wouldn't even fill them up. I would make the blend, and I would say, okay, teaspoon, boom, down and go train. So when that time came and I was invited to go to Fitform, it was like 6 months ahead. I went to a manufacturer here in Florida, and I said, I have a formula, not knowing, I'm telling you, not even knowing this industry, like the back end of it, right? And I said, I have this formula. I like to put it in capsules because I can't put it in capsules. And he goes, yeah, I can do it for you. And I remember he only did 48 bottles, and they cost me like 20 some dollars each. Okay. And I called it, I called it, it was the JM Pro World. JM Pro World was a corporation of mine. And I called it the Advanced Lipocatabolic System, which ended up being the same formula under Thin Pill, which was a huge success, an infomercial with Gunther Ranker. Then we relabeled it under Crunch Time, another infomercial. I mean, this formula was amazing, right? But again, that's how it started. And then obviously I made some money. And I'm like, oh, let me see what I can do here. And then with the manufacturer, it was like, hey, you know, you want to expand on this. But here's how I started originally with the first capsules, the first 48 bottles. I used to teach spinning. Yes, spinning. You know, spinning.
I saw the pictures. Yeah.
Okay. It was the original Planet Fitness. Now it's a chain, but back then it was just one. It was just one gym, and I had access to 24, 25 bikes, and I took the bottles, and I would give these pills, these capsules, to the girls before their spinning class. And they're like, oh my God, what is it? What is this crap? What does this do? What does this do? And before you know it, I took a case to the front desk and we started selling it to the front desk. That's how it all started. That was the initial move I made to get into the supplement business.
So did you always have this entrepreneurial mindset?
Yes. I was the kid with the lemonade stand.
Okay. Because
literally.
I love the people who say, you know, entrepreneurs are born. No, entrepreneurs are, you know, built, you know, off of time and experiences and stuff like that. So it's always fun to see people who say, you know, I've always had that mindset versus people who are just like, I'm sick of working the 9 to 5. I got to figure out how to make this work myself. And then they get into the business that way. So, you know,
I mowed lawns every summer. I mowed lawns. I did the lemonade. I did the high C fruit punch. You know, my father always said that I can have anything I want, and he would always add to what I wanted, but I always had to come to him with something.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, if you're a business owner, you're going to understand what I'm going to say next, and that is, when you own a business or you're, you know, an entrepreneur and you're constantly building things, you're trying to perfect, you know, the perfect business model. You have your good days, you have your bad days, and you know, nobody sees the bad days because a lot of people will put up a front. You know, they don't want to tell people, hey, you know, times are bad, times are rough, whatever the case may be. And you know, we all hit these roadblocks in our business or our career. If you work a 9 to 5, maybe you're stuck at a position where you're like, I can't get to that next level. You know, I want to get to the VP, or I want to get to the president, or I want to get to the CEO, but I just can't get past that spot. And you have that roadblock. So what roadblocks did you hit? And you can take it as far back as you want, or you can take it to, you know, recently, or everything in between. It's up to you. I don't know how many roadblocks you actually had, but are there any that really stick out in your mind that you literally were like, I don't think I can do it. You know, I don't think I can get past this point.
You know, in the beginning, I was at that point many times. And whoever's listening, this is something I'd like for them to actually take this in full thought. It's how we see things. It's how we approach things. There's out of 365 days, Matt, 300 of them are bad. Okay, but here's the kicker, and here's how I learned, and I realized that it's how I approach things. Okay, oh, my life sucks. Oh, my life sucks. Oh, my life sucks. I can think of so many reasons why my life sucks. Okay, I'm fat. I'm hairy. My life sucks, right? I just sold $50,000 worth of product. My life is great, all in the same day. You see what I'm saying? So it's our approach in life. And I did have the major hiccups. I had filed bankruptcy, 15 years ago. I lost my company. I had brought partners up. I had brought partners on, and it just they were partnering with me, and it's all my fault. I blame myself because I saw it coming. I don't blame anybody. But what I did realize in how I got here was, if I'm building a house, this house is always going to be building. I'm always going to build rooms and more rooms and more rooms. Never did I ever say that I'm going to build this house and I'm going to lock the doors and I'm going to sit in it, because I tried that and I failed, because I thought that I didn't need to evolve. And once I realized that it's all about evolving and taking the experience and learning and enjoying the journey, I made money. And my company. See, here's the thing. I love money, but I'm not a greedy son of a bitch. Okay? I love the hustle. I do deals and I throw the invoices away. See what I'm saying? It's not like, oh my God, I just made all this money. It's like, wow, I just did this deal. Let's move on to the next deal. Okay? I thrive on that. And that's what got me deeper into this industry, is because you can never master it. Just like bodybuilding. You're never good enough. You can never be good enough. Same thing with our industry. I don't know about other industries. I've been in the restaurant business, which I grew up in the restaurant business. That's hell. But again, it's a game. It's a hustle. This, to me, my friend, is an enjoyment. You get your lawsuits because people see you make money and they come after you, and then you also have customers saying, "Oh my God, your products are amazing," right? So, and that all can happen all in the same hour. It's how we approach this. It's how we take this on. We can take it on like I'm going to die tomorrow, or we can take this on like, hey, I'll get past this. Sorry, I'll get past this. So before BeautyFit, I don't know if before BeautyFit, I was done. I was done with the industry. And BeautyFit was you heard the stories about the napkin? Okay, the napkin? Okay. And we can bring Dan Solomon. Dan Solomon is a very good friend of mine. Okay, he's more than a brother. He was there with the napkin deal. We were sitting at Starbucks, which we called Corp North. Okay, we had Corp South and Corp North. And he met me for coffee because I wasn't doing anything. I had just gotten out of my other company and I was just sitting on my ass. And I didn't know what to do. And we were sitting, and he goes, "What the hell are you gonna do, Jimbo?" I'm like, "I don't know. I was just throwing stuff around, right?" And all of a sudden, I wrote BeautyFit on a napkin, and I put a block around beauty. And I said, "I'm going to start a women's brand. Nobody has a women's brand." He goes, "You're out of your mind. Nobody buys women's products. They all buy men's products because they're boyfriends." I said, "Because no one else has done it. No one else has created not a brand, products just for women." Lee Labrada did it. He did, was it Lean Body for her, but all it was, and no offense to Lee, he just did smaller packets. It was a smaller serving. So once I got the name and I got the logo, I started with that fat burner, that advanced lipocatabolic system, which was the thin pill, which was the crunch time, now is the Beauty Fuel. I launched with Beauty Fuel with a 30 serve box punch outs. Made 1,000 boxes, sold them out of the corner of my living room, and then I moved on. Now, here comes the Beauty Bum. Beauty Bum, do you remember? I don't even know if you're old enough. You're still young. Do you remember the old Thymu case?
No.
See? Man, you're young.
I probably wasn't even born yet.
It was an old Thymu case that we used to get from France. It was an injectable, it was a suppository, and it was a cream that literally helped you burn fat and cellulite. It was powerful. All us guys in the 80s and 90s used it, right? But there was an ingredient in there that had passed the percentages that allowed to import the product to the States. We somehow, some way got it. Okay. I used it. I freaking love it, especially my lower back. You know, when you're just ripped, your glutes are ripped, everything's ripped, and you got that little thing hanging on the bottom of your lower back, right? I was that guy. I still am. Now I have all over, but my lower back is still this fat now. So I took the concept, found the grandson of the formulator. And obviously I couldn't use the same ingredients, but I wanted to understand the concept of how this Thymu case worked. So he explained to me the concept, and I came back to the States and I formulated Beauty Bum. So this Beauty Bum product, I don't want to get into the Beauty Bum because we're not here to talk about that. But again, whatever you see today has come from my past. The entrepreneurship, the hustle, the good, the bad, the ideas. You know, people, and I want people to understand this. You have to use your past experience, good and bad, to move forward, especially in business, especially if you're an entrepreneur, and never, ever, ever give up. Not once, Matt, not once did I ever want to give up. I've been broke, but not once did I ever want to give up. Did I cry? I'm depressed? Yeah, sure. But I've always, always tried to get back up.
I think it's important that, and I'll use myself as an example. I was always of the mindset, failure is not an option. And while I don't think any of us, want to say, hey, we failed at something, failure gives us an opportunity to learn something. And I had to shift my mindset and my perspective of things because I was so gung-ho and, I wanted to be perfect at everything. I wanted to have, the perfect content. I wanted to have the perfect life. I wanted to have the perfect business. Everything had to be perfect because I couldn't fail. And then somebody finally sat down with me and they said, Matt, you're going to eventually burn out. And then what? I said, what do you mean? I'm not going to burn out. Like I just go. That's how I am. And they said, well, what are you going to do when you fail? And I said, I'm not going to fail. I can't fail. Failure's not an option. And they say, yeah, but do you realize that you fail at something every day without thinking of it as a failure?
Right.
And subconsciously you learn from it and you make adjustments without seeing it as a failure. But failure is inevitable. It's going to happen anytime that you're, pushing the limits of anything or trying to create things, be creative, change behaviors, change lifestyles, change buying decisions, whatever the case may be. So you have to look at these failures as learning opportunities. And for that reason, I had to shift my mentality to I'm okay with failure now, as long as I learn from that. And I think it goes back to what you said, where you take what you had in the past, what worked, what didn't work. You might look back and say, I failed at this, but at the time didn't realize that you actually failed at it. So everything I think needs to be taken under the microscope so that you can see the longevity of whatever it is you're trying to build, whether it's a business, your career, with a company, a sports career, an athletic career, whatever the case may be. I think you need to take failure head on and figure out how to grow from it, because that's what inevitably makes you better,
right,
as a person, as a business.
The word failure, I kind of interpret it now as detour. Okay.
That's
And
good.
and one of the things that I realized that I don't do with BeautyFit. See, I got to tell you, BeautyFit, and again, it's not like I'm promoting BeautyFit, but BeautyFit has been the landing ground for me. Like, I landed, and I was able to utilize all my past experiences to go forward for new experiences. And the reason why I say this is because every time something goes on with BeautyFit, I look at the circumstance and I say, yeah, I've done this before, but I never turn around and say, yeah, well, this time it's BeautyFit, maybe it'll work. If it didn't work for me in the past, I don't care how sweet the deal is, I will not touch it again. Like, if there's different strategies, right? If there's a strategy that didn't work for me in the past, I'm not doing it. I don't turn around and say, well, this is different. That's like saying, it's crazy. Like, let's say you're married to a redhead, right? And go through a divorce. You're married 10 years. You go through a divorce. All of a sudden she comes back as a blonde. And she's like, I've changed. No, you haven't. Okay. So you can't, and that's the way I function. If it didn't work for me in the past, if relationships didn't work for me in the past, if strategies didn't work in the past, if my mental thinking, my thought process didn't work in the past, I don't do them again. I do new ones. I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's try it, because I'm learning more. I've learned more. And if someone's out there listening to me and saying, hey, if you have an idea out there, don't listen to anybody when they say negative. Find someone who understands where you're coming from, because sometimes it's not the product. Okay? Sometimes it's not the product. It's positioning it accordingly. What happened with BeautyFit once I launched? Who else came around? So many other companies, right? What happened? Where are they now? Because they did what they had done with their other brands, and that didn't work. Because you and I think different when we want to buy supplements. I don't care what anybody says. I have listened very closely to my customers, my female customers. All of them have become family. They have my BeautyFit customers have a direct line to me. Direct. And when I respond sometimes through my messages and my emails, and they're like, this is Jimmy? They can't believe it. Because I have learned from my past. People want to do business with me. People want to do business with the person who is behind the company.
That's 100% true. Yeah.
Right. I've done it before. I was that freaking pro bodybuilder, and here are my employees, and here's my sales team. Go out and get me business. I failed in 6 months. I went out of business. And that's when I realized. So taking all my mistakes and turning them into positive, not doing them again, but doing things different, has allowed me to be where I am today, and speaking to you and doing all this good stuff. So when I decide to start another venture, I never look at, how did I do that one? I start with a clean sheet of paper.
I think that segues into what I was going to ask next. Do you think you'll ever retire? Can you ever say that I'm
No,
gonna sit
no,
back and take it
no.
easy and
Matt, I've had 6 opportunities. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I will. I won't give you too much detail. I've had
there's no
six.
taking it back now.
I've had 6 opportunities in the last 2 years to sell BeautyFit. The last one was a month ago. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. The deal was okay. The deal could have been negotiated accordingly. If I wanted, put it this way, if I wanted the deal, I could have done the deal. Okay? I couldn't do it because I said to myself, what am I going to do next? First of all, they wouldn't allow me to even walk into a GNC or a Vitamin World or Vitamin Shop. Okay? They wanted me so far out of the industry. Okay? But what would I do?
Right.
You know? So I woke up the next morning when I made that decision. I talked to Tammy and I said, let's do this. She goes, baby, I never thought you would do that deal anyway. You know? And I got to tell you, I feel relieved. You know? So that's why I'm opening a gym now.
So let's talk about this then. Are you very goal driven? Do you have things written down or up in your head that you're like, these are things that I have to do. They're non-negotiable. These are goals that I want to hit. Or are you the type of person who you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, let's just go, but without a specific direction?
I used to have the goals. Now I wake up every morning and I say, okay, let's go. Let's see what today brings me, because my day brings me opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes it takes me down different avenues. Sometimes I meet people at Publix or a Starbucks, and next thing you know, I'm doing a different business. Right. I have been very self-aware is that when I give myself goals, I get very tunnel vision. And sometimes that hurts me because I don't see to the side. I'm like this. And that has hurt me. So I wake up every morning and clear mind and I go.
So let me ask you this, and you have the right to not respond. With BeautyFit, obviously, it's a female-friendly, very specific brand. You brought on LSR for the tanning aspect of it. So now you have the tanning, you have the supplements, you have the skincare line
The
with
Beauty I Am.
BeautyFit. Was that ever a goal to expand, go from supplements to I'm going to go to skincare, I'm going to go to tanning? Like, do you have like a checklist? Like,
no,
I want to get this. So,
no.
for instance, when you were talking to, is her name Marilyn from LSR? Mm-hmm. So when you acquired LSR, was that always on your radar that that's something that you wanted to do, or was it you woke up, an opportunity came to you that day, you and Marilyn spoke about it, and all of a sudden now LSR is under you?
I never thought in my craziest thoughts that BeautyFit would be so big as it is today. I'm a dreamer, okay, but I'm a realist. So I didn't even know I would have a skincare line. I mean, I didn't even know any products would be in Bed Bath & Beyond.
Right.
Let alone just GNC, right? So I focused. But then again, as I went throughout my day, I'm a people person. I talk to people. I communicate. And you know, I like people. So I met Marilyn about 2 years ago at the Border Clash. I'm in the beauty. See, I'm not in the supplement business. I'm in the beauty business. So when I decided to go into the beauty business, I'm under every structure there is, right? I'm into the cosmetics, I'm into the lotions, I'm into the tanning, I'm into the clothing, I'm into supplements, anything that has to do with the human body now, I'm in. I just thought it was a great fit. Marilyn's an amazing woman. She is so driven. She loves her brand. She built this baby by herself. And I love her to death. And I thought that I can provide and add value to that brand. And that's why she's doing amazing, and she's still going. And we're moving together.
So the last thing that I want to do is, and it just came up, and I thought this would be a cool thing to do. So I just wrote down a couple things. I'm going to give you one word, and I want you to respond back with the first thing that comes to your mind. It can be a word, it can be a sentence. Literally, you hear the word, just say what you're thinking. Relationships.
Life.
Trust.
Hard to do.
Character.
Can I exchange that with another word?
Sure.
Dignity.
Okay. Business.
Fun.
Supplements.
Complicated.
Good one. Health.
Life. I already used life, right?
You did, but you can use it again.
Health. Health is life.
Money.
Solution.
That's a good one. BeautyFit. You better come up with something good here.
No, you know when you say BeautyFit, literally the first thing comes to my head is passion.
Last one. Jimmy Mentis.
Real.
I think you passed all those.
Thank you, brother.
That's all I got. That last thing was kind of off the cuff, just to see what where your head is with certain things.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you have any advice that you can give people? Obviously, we have a wide gamut of people that are part of the fit business community, like I mentioned in kind of the intro. We have people that are in the infancy stage with a startup. We have people that are on their way to being part of an Inc. 500 company. Whatever the case may be, what advice can you give?
My advice would be this, because I follow my own advice. Make friends and communicate with your friends and be transparent with your friends. See, and I'm going to give you an example. I don't negotiate deals anymore. Let's just say you were a buyer or you were interested in purchasing, BeautyFit or LSR products, right? I'll say, Matt, how many stores would you like to go and where do you need to be on a price? Isn't that at the end of the day what it boils down to? If someone's coming to me to carry BeautyFit, I already have my answer. They're interested.
Right.
We're in business. What is business? Money. How can I make you, the buyer, or the company that you're working for, the stores that you're working for, successful? Not how much money you can make me. How much money can I make them? Because if I can make them money, I'm going to make money. And I think this is the biggest mistake many have and are doing. They think a buyer's going to come by, or customers, or even customers, right? You want to offer them results. And these buyers come by, international, buyers come in, and they're like, Jimmy, I'm interested in your BeautyFit. What are your prices? You know what? Where do you need to be?
Right.
And if I can do it, I'll do it. There's no negotiations with me. So that's my advice. Stop playing the freaking game. Be transparent. talk to each other as you guys are partners. You're in this together because at the end of the day, it's one pocket. It's literally one pocket. Because if they make money, they're going to come back and buy more. If they don't make money, you're gone. And I've learned that. And I've been doing that since day one with BeautyFit. I did with my previous brand, but obviously that's gone. But with BeautyFit since day one, GNC calls me 2 months into BeautyFit. Hey man, we're interested. Boom, up to Pittsburgh. Where do you guys need to be? They're looking at me. We're all friends. Same thing with Vitamin World, all these guys. Where do you need to be? Let's do this together. This isn't a game. Right. That's my advice.
Yeah, I think that ties in with a lot of the mistakes that especially sales guys, or I shouldn't say sales guys, sales professionals are doing today. And they're always trying to think of the next thing to say to try and close a deal. Where if you would just shut up and listen, they'll tell you, the answers that you're looking for, and from there you just figure it out.
That's it.
So it's very simple. People try to overcomplicate it with all of these different pitches, and well, if they say this, I'm going to say this, and I have this, these talking points and this deck that I have to follow, and all of this stuff, and I think it's all a bunch of BS. At the end of the day, it's exactly what you said, Mr. Customer. What is your problem? What problem are you having with your business?
And let me solve.
You don't have this.
Let me solve your let me solve your problem.
Exactly. It's okay. How can I help you solve that problem? Oh, okay. You don't have this type of product, or you feel that consumers don't want to pay that price point. Cool. How can we work on that? And it's a solving. It's just stop pitching. People are too tied into not listening to what the person's saying when the answer is already there. They're too focused on, because they're given this sales script that they have to follow by their sales manager. And okay, you're going to start with this, you're going to go with this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and it again, it's what you said. It all comes down to money.
Matt,
where do you have to be?
How do you think BeautyFit has 87 products? Because I'm the genius who thought of them? No. I said, where's your problem? What do you need? He goes, yeah, you know what? We need this product that does this, this, and this, or can you make something like this under the BeautyFit brand? I said, I can probably make it better. Done. And what I did is I gave it to them and I made more for myself.
Yeah, I think that's another mistake. And I would love to actually make this an entire topic for a show, is where brands are going wrong today. And my biggest gripe is, and people who know my background, I spent nearly a decade working with Metrex before I started my own business. And that was, I didn't feel like the brand connected with the consumer. And they were launching products. A lot of them were Me Too products. And, I'm not saying this to bash Metrex. It's just, I think a lot of brands, I could probably throw a whole bunch of people under the bus on this topic, where they're not listening to what their consumers really want. They're coming out with products that, based off of the margins, are going to make the most sense for them.
Right.
And I think that's where, not to toot your horn, I think that's where you find the most success, because you're in the trenches. You're doing, the coffee with the boss man and all this stuff. You're talking to your consumers on a daily basis,
Literally
whether it's social media, in person, at shows, text, messaging, whatever. And you're trying to gain that insight. Okay, what's the next thing? What problem areas are my consumers finding themselves in, and how can I capitalize on that? It's the whole business model of how you created BeautyFit,
right? Because
you found a niche that wasn't tapped into, and you said,
well, nobody believed in it either. This is
what we're going to do.
Yeah, nobody believed in it
because it's different.
Yeah.
Everything is impossible until it's not.
Right.
But with that being said, I don't think I have anything else. I think I have a whole bunch of new topics that we could talk about on future episodes. But I don't have anything else to say. Obviously, I was grilling you today with a whole bunch of different questions. Do you have anything else to add that you want to touch on for the people listening?
I just want whoever's listening to this, two things. Number one, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. You're going to have your bad days. You're going to have your bad moments. Thrive on it. It's crazy I'm saying this. thrive on your bad times. And if anybody needs any, I don't know, talks with me or wants to contact me, anybody can reach out to me if I can help in any way.
I think that'll be helpful. I know I've reached out to you numerous times over the last 3 years and saying, Jimmy, do you ever run into this issue? Do you ever have this happen to you? What did you do here? What would you recommend? And you've always shot it to me straight, whether I wanted to hear that answer or not.
Listen, 9 out of 10 times, it's the answer that we don't want to tell ourselves, that we have to hear from somebody else, but we already know that answer.
Right. Exactly. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys. Jimmy and I truly love doing this show and
I love
providing value to you guys that, you can take and apply. And that's the main thing. I think so many people will listen to this, but I really hope that you got something out of it that you can apply, because I'm a big component of executing on ideas and thoughts that you have versus sitting on them and waiting for the right time, because there's never a right time. So if you're on the fence of starting a business, figure out how you can actually put that into motion. I'm not telling you to quit your job and on a whim, sell your home to start a business. Maybe you have to do a side hustle for a little bit. And again, this is all stuff that we can talk about, on another episode. But if you guys have questions, like Jimmy said, let us know. How did Jimmy transition from, bodybuilding to the business, which we got into? How did I transition from, 9 to 5 working for a supplement company to owning my own business? If we can help you guys in any way, obviously we have the Facebook group, Fit Business. If you go to Facebook, you just type in the search Fit Business. Our ugly mugs will come up with the big Fit Business in between. Join our community. There's so many people, like I said, supplement companies, supplement retailers, business professionals, sales executives. I mean, you name it, they're there. We have doctors, cardiologists. We have everything. It's such a cool community. So, if you have questions, feel free to post them in there as well. But with that being said, I got nothing left. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Jimmy, sign us out.
Peace out.